What's up, Internet? I'm Tashi, this is Dizzy, and this is M, and we actually have a special guest with us. This is Marshall.
Surprise!
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory.
Oh, Marshall should just do them.
Yes! Yes! The legendary.
Well, hi, everybody. My name is Marsh, or Marshall for short.
Sure.
Great to be here. Honored to be here.
Honored, he says. He's so humble. We
Yeah,
should be honored to have him.
I am honored to have him and be blessed by his melodic
cannot be on here
voice.
often, and that's mainly because I work throughout the week, and I'm usually traveling a lot. So, for the rare moments when I'm on here, I mean, always a good time.
Yeah.
Woo, woo, woo!
Marsh is our first celebrity.
man.
For real.
Okay, what are our topics for today?
Tosh and his job or lack
yeah.
thereof.
Yeah, 2 unemployed in the chat.
Hey, yeah.
Yo.
I'm pretty sure every job has their version of this, but they're called e-learnings, right? Little training videos to make sure you know how to do your job.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta watch them every few months, to make sure you know how to do your job.
No, could not be me already.
So at there are also e-learnings that are basically there just to help the employees get discounts on different things, right? So that's how I got those Beats headphones. These headphones will be the ones that in question when the situation comes up.
Right. Not what I expected. But go on. Go on.
So I did one of those e-learnings to get $100 off on those headphones, right? I go pick up the headphones. From the floor and bring it into the back, where we do the work, basically. I put it down on a counter right in front of a camera on purpose because I know my skin color and I know what the stereotype is.
Fair.
He's right.
So I'm chilling, waiting for one of my coworkers to come and ring me out for the headphones. Cause I'm like, all right, I'm about to leave in 30 minutes, bro. I'm trying to go home. I'm not trying to be here any longer than I have to be. So I'm waiting, and then this dude whose job it is to sit and watch the cameras in the store, he comes back and is like, hey, what's going on with those headphones? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy them. And I forgot to mention that these headphones, they have security wrap on them.
Right.
Okay.
It's
Krusty Krab.
Right.
With the wires, and I'm like, steal from here.
Yeah, it has that on it. So he's like, what's going on with those? I'm like, I'm going to buy them. He's like, all right, cool. He goes away. Maybe 5 minutes later, he comes back and is like, so those headphones. And I'm like, I'm still going to buy them. And then he's like, all right, cool. And then he goes away.
I was like, bro, they've been sitting there for however long.
Him and a different manager that knows that me and him have some sort of a little relationship, right? Me and him we're kind of cool. And that manager and the same dude came back again, and the manager was like, bro, please just go buy those because he's gonna keep talking about it. And I was like,
no, this is Patrick.
What is going on? Is it that deep, bro? So I go pay for the headphones, whatever. I ended up having to stay a whole extra 30 minutes because of what happened. But I bought the headphones and I went home. A week later, the general manager walks up to me and is like, hey, so yeah, about that headphone stuff. Yeah, it was if you're worried about paying for stuff when you're on the clock, don't worry about it. I don't mind. Even if you want to like clock off for like 3 minutes and then clock back on, I don't mind. And I was like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? I don't care about buying stuff when I'm on the clock. I didn't know we weren't supposed to. So I kind of just ignored that. And then later that day, the dude who came back 3 separate times that kept asking me about the headphones, he was like, hey, I wasn't like trying to accuse you of anything, by the way. Like, that was not me wanting to go do that. It was the GM telling me to go do that. So like I just want you to know I wasn't trying to like accuse you of anything or like be disrespectful to you, bro. Like that wasn't me. And I was like, okay, I get you. Because at first my anger was directed towards that dude because I know he's the one that watches the cameras. But once he said that to me, my anger turned towards the GM because, mind you, this is the same person that just was like, yeah, don't if that basically making it seem like that whole situation was about me paying for stuff while I'm on the clock. So I was like, I went home that day and I was like, what is wrong with anybody in this store? And then
Everything.
Clearly, and then the next day came. I go in and my manager wants to talk to me, and I'm like, all right, what's up? And she's like, so what's going on with this with the headphone situation? Like she wanted my story basically because she heard that I got upset about it. And so I gave her my story, and she was like, okay, I didn't know that he went back there multiple times, or like he was sent back there multiple times. And I was like, yeah, that happened. And then she was like, well, and so her explanation for the situation basically was that it was about having stuff in the back like having merchandise in the back in general, which fair enough. I guess realistically you shouldn't have merchandise back there.
Sure.
Fair enough. If that's what you want to, sure, I guess.
As a person who works there and has access to all that stuff.
Yeah,
anyway.
right. That's why I'm like, sure.
I was like, I guess, sure. So that was her explanation for it, basically. And I was like, okay, so now I have 2 different explanations for this situation. Neither of them really are relevant because I didn't know either of them were wrong. So I low-key don't believe them. Mind you, the GM and my manager, the GM is a white man, which already red flag. And
period.
My manager is a white woman, which low-key even bigger red flag.
Fair.
That's literally my joke.
It's just because, black men and white women have not had the best track record.
Oh, you don't have to explain it to us.
Emmett Till, anyone? So I'm like, all right, whatever. And I'm walking back to we call it the precinct. That's what our work area is, the precinct. I'm walking back, and then the manager, who I said me and him were kind of cool, who was a black dude, he stops me and he's like, "Hey, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you." And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, "Bro, what the fuck is going on? Can I just work?"
This is a week ago, and they're all bringing it up when you haven't. That's what's
right. Like, I'm like, bro,
y'all are more sensitive about it than me.
No, I was pissed off about it, but I'm like, why are y'all talking to me about it? Like, what? Like now y'all can't. Like y'all, come on now. So I was like, "What's up, man? What's up?" And he was like, "So, that shouldn't have happened the way it happened, blah, blah, blah." And then he was like, "I just want you to know the reason the GM was being like that is because the store just lost $10,000 worth of merchandise." I was like,
really?
Hooray! What got to do with me?
I would have been like, that's very interesting. How can I help fight this problem?
No,
what are the weaknesses in the store?
Like, I was just like, that got to do with me. That's the reason that number is so high is a big chunk of that was when I started thinking and was like,
don't steal kids.
Wait a minute. I was like, wait a minute, hold on. I just realized something. So at the time, I was like, 2 of my coworkers who were white did the exact same thing that I did. They brought merchandise into the back. They didn't even buy it yet, but I'm the only one who got spoken to about it. I
Seems
wonder
kinda
what the
suspect.
What we like
only
to call racism.
I wonder what the only difference between us is. And the craziest part is
They have ankles.
they did it in a worse way. Yeah, I chose to ignore you. They did it in a worse way because they brought it to a spot where the camera actually can't see.
Hmm.
And one of
And that's for
them,
you to fool for it.
no, I did it on purpose. I knew I was gonna buy
I know
it.
you did it. I know you did it on purpose. You say you did it on purpose, but I'm saying maybe if they were like, you know what, he's thugging out, stealing, I'm gonna let it go.
So
No, they probably would have called the cops on him in the store.
they definitely would have. One of them even had his backpack in that same corner, so he could have just slid that.
My brother in Christ.
It was me. I'm the coworker.
So I was like, that's
Oh, dear.
crazy. Okay. Later on, I found out that a third one of my white coworkers also brought some merchandise to the back that same day.
Wow.
So I want that is all of the context and backstory that we need. So
On to firing.
on to
Quitting.
me
You've been
walking
promoted
out.
to customer.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said that.
That should be the title of this episode.
Congratulations, you've been promoted to customer.
Please.
I want that to be me so bad.
So
Well, actually, that would be an
I went into work at 2:00. Normally I go in at 10 in the morning, but I went into work at 2:00 yesterday. So when I woke up, I thought about it, and so it had been a week since the day that everybody interacted. So it's been a week since everybody did that day, and I started thinking that it was my race was the reason why I got called out on it. So I texted my manager before I went in. I was like, actually, I can read it directly. I was like, hey, you remember how you asked if there was anything I wanted you to say on my behalf to the GM about the whole headphone situation? And she was like, yeah, why? And I responded, I was like, I would very much appreciate it if the GM simply did not speak to me anymore, because I'm not entirely convinced that my race wasn't a factor in that situation. I got 3 different explanations from you, the GM, and I'm sorry that I have to involve you in this. I've been trying to make it blatantly clear that I don't want to interact with him, but he hasn't gotten the hint, and I know that if I tell him, it's not going to be nice, respectful, or even quiet. And she was like, we'll talk about it when you come in today. And I was like, all right, cool. Fair enough. So I go into work, I'm being nice to people, everything's smooth. She comes over and is like, hey, we can have our chat now. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm thinking what's going to happen is we're going to sit down. She's going to be like, you want to explain a little bit? I'm going to explain a little bit. And she's going to be like, cool, I'll tell him you don't want him to talk to you. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. So we walk into the office. She's like, yeah, take a seat, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool. And then the manager that I said me and him have a little relationship, the black dude, he walks in as well, right? So it's me, my manager, and the black dude. And they're like, so go ahead, what's going on, right? And I'm like, yeah, I just don't want him to talk to me. I'm not entirely sure that he's not racist, so I would rather just not talk to him. I have no reason to want to talk to him. 3 of my white coworkers did the exact same thing that I did. 2 of them did it even worse because they brought it into a spot where the cameras can't see. And I'm the only one that got called out on it. That's 1 out of 4 doesn't give me confidence that it wasn't race related, basically. Immediately they both go in and they're like, well, so we really don't think it was about race. That's like the first thing that they tried to make blatantly clear. And I was like, okay. And then they start going in about how they can't really tell him not to talk to me. And I was like, why not? And they were like, well, he's the GM of the store. And I was like, okay. He doesn't need to talk to me. Like, I want to say, literally the only time he would talk to me was when I was walking into the building or walking out of the building. My job didn't. For me to do my job, I didn't need to talk to him at all.
Yeah, that was how it was at my last job. I didn't have to speak to the GM at all. He wasn't even there.
Like, I don't know. I still cannot think of a reason why they couldn't literally just be like, Tosh doesn't want to talk to you. But they kept being like, yeah, he's the GM. He like, if we tell him that, he's gonna want to talk to you. And I was like, I don't want to talk to him. Like that's when you tell, if he says I want to talk to him about it, that's when you tell him no, he doesn't want to talk to you. I don't understand. And so the punk asked me, he was like, is this one of those, like, do you think this is going to end up being one of those things where it's like, I don't want to talk to you, but then, like, that's just because you're mad, like, in the moment. And I was like, no, I think he's racist. Why would I want to talk to him?
This sounds like my roommate situation.
So, basically, they kept trying to be like, well, he kind of has to talk to you. He's the GM. Like, if we tell him that, he's going to want to talk to you. And I was like, no. No. And then got called out of the room to do something. And like, I looked at my manager. I was like, the only reason I brought this up to you was because I know that if I have to do it, like if I have to tell him, it's not going to be pretty. It's gonna be pretty bad. Like, I have anger issues, and it's not going to be pretty.
How should take that?
She was like,
I know that white woman was like, scary black man.
She was like, I get that, but like he's the GM. He has to talk to you. And I was like, no, he doesn't. He does not need to say any word. Like, he doesn't need to talk to me at all.
So, like, I don't understand why they're not just like, okay, yes, he is the GM, so it might be difficult for him to completely ignore you out of a professional sense. But if I let him know, like, hey, this incident, blah 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 blah. So don't be trying to like make small talk because you're gonna aggravate him, and I'd rather just not have an incident in my store.
That like, if she would have told me that, if she would have been like, so it might be impossible, like he might still
like he literally still has to speak to you because he's literally a boss, and if he needs to speak about you,
like
work related. And I'd be like, obviously that's not what I'm talking about, idiot.
Right? No, like if it's like, obviously if it's something to do with like, whatever work related thing, even like, anyways, I don't know why she couldn't just be like, yeah, well, like it might be completely impossible for him to just not talk to you. But even then, he doesn't necessarily need to talk to me because there's a whole nother store manager who always says that he runs the store because he technically does. He could be the one to talk to me, so the GM literally could have just completely avoided me. But whatever. That, I guess, whatever. So Punk walks back in, and he's like, I don't know. Like, he, joins in the conversation again, and he's like, I don't know, like, how do you tell a man that another man, he can't talk to another man? And then I was like, you tell him point blank, period, Tosh thinks you're racist. He doesn't want to talk to you.
Even if he said it in like I don't mean to be like not even like make it seem like it's related to the incident, be like, hey, I don't think, like, ever since that incident, I would just stay clear, Tosh, because like, he tends to get a little heated, and if you don't want to have to like write an incident, like, you know what I mean? Like, he could have just leveled with him and not made it seem like it wasn't even a part of that.
It really would have been that simple.
That's
It would, but people in the workplace, they love to be like, well, we're a team here, so you're gonna have to work it out, even
I'm like,
though
if we're a
that's
fucking
not how
team,
everyone functions.
no, right.
if we're a team, then them motherfuckers should have got hey yo, you gotta buy that too. As
Like,
well.
right. Thank you.
If it's a team, we all facing discrimination.
Thank you. So I was just like, what? Like,
You're essentially
he
just
kept
trying to send some messenger boy to, speak on behalf of you.
basically like
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to him. If I'm
You can't
telling
exactly just go to the dude and be like, "Hey, are you racist?" Lol.
them, right? No, literally.
I would.
LOL.
I
You
would
probably
go,
could,
like,
but that wouldn't
get
end
it.
well, I'd imagine.
Get a little of them dark skins, huh?
Tosh was gonna.
And you're at work also, so
right.
it's just
So I said that, and then he was like, I can't, like, blah blah blah. I can't tell him that. He's gonna want to talk to you. Just basically repeating that same point. So it got to the point where I got frustrated and fed up with this, how we were just going in circles. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna cut this conversation short. Are you going to tell him not to talk to me? And like, my manager completely stayed silent. Travis was like, I can't. And I was like, all right, cool. I got up, started taking my shirt off. I had an undershirt on.
I was like, he's tripping.
And then just walked out of the office. I was like, all right, y'all got that. I walked to the precinct, got my stuff, and then I started getting ready to clock out, and then walked into the back. He was like, what, like, come on, man, like, and I was like, what, and then he was like, what do you want me to say? And I was like, I don't want to talk to him. That's what I want you to say. And then he was like, I can't do that. And I was like, all right, y'all got that. I clocked off and then stopped to get my gloves. And then my manager started talking to me. Like, she walked up and she was like, I like having you here. Like, I like you being an employee.
I bet you love having employees.
I was like, I just completely ignored her while she was talking and put my gloves on and then walked out.
Yo, you're a slave for that.
I called my mom and I was like, I quit. And then my mom was like, what? And then I explained to her what happened and I asked her, I was like, am I being like an entitled, spoiled Gen Zer? Is that what's happening? And then she was like, spoiled? No. Entitled? A little bit. But if you don't want to talk to somebody, they can't try to make you talk to him. And I was like, all right, cool. That's all the motivation I need. And then I drove on.
My mama says I can. Then I'm gonna. Because my mom will be the first one to be like, what the thing you're doing?
No, that's what I thought my mom was going to say.
Okay.
Nope, not even going to lie. Like, I thought my mom was going to be like, if you don't go back inside and get your job back.
I would have been like, I would have came back and been like, I was just playing. And my mama said,
no, literally, I looked at my mom. I was like, honestly, because if you tell me to go in right now, I'll go back inside and be like, my mom told me I was being stupid, so I guess I'll have this conversation. And she was like, no, if they're gonna try to make you talk to somebody you don't want to talk to, no.
She said no because I don't want to bail you out of jail when this motherfucker.
Yeah, I think that's realistically why my mom told me no. It's a good thing that dude wasn't in too, because they really would have tried to make me talk to him, and
that's why I'm a believer.
That's why I'm a believer.
Because I would have. Oh, we would have sung Floridian man.
That's why I quit.
Wow. To be honest, I wasn't expecting that to be what happened.
Not to like see you in a poor light or whatever, but like I thought it was gonna be like you were like talking to a customer and they asked for a trade-in and you were like, "This is it."
No, honestly,
something a little more shallow.
I'm not gonna lie. Real reason. I'm not gonna lie.
It has for us as
the way I thought I was gonna quit was gonna be something like that too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Because like you were already thinking about it and then someone asked you to do something and you were like, I actually don't feel like doing that.
No, yeah. I thought, because for the past couple of days before that, like, I had dealt with some difficult customers and I was just like, this could be it. Like, I could be done now. Like, I could just walk out. What are they gonna do?
He was thinking about it real hard. He was like, should I?
No, I really was, like, especially with this one lady. She got a custom PC built for her when she had no reason to at all.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's expensive.
And so the technicians, they installed Steam for her.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, they didn't sign in because they don't know her account, first off.
Right.
And they're not going to do that anyway.
Say some crazy
big meaty claws
right now.
So,
if she doesn't even know why she got a custom
is she
PC?
gonna return the whole thing because they didn't log into the fucking her stream account?
Just watch this.
Watch.
So I start up her computer. So she's like 50, at least 50, bro. She's at least 50.
Oh, she's a gamer.
She's at
Slay, mom, grandma. Nah, that's pretty good.
So I started up to show her around the computer, basically. Show her how to
show her your OnlyFans.
Oh hell no.
Thank you, Marshall. Thank you.
Honest reaction.
That was perfect. Maybe it's hers. Like you open the internet and it's her OnlyFans.
No.
All right.
Anyways,
so
the computer starts up. The first thing that pops up, of course, is Steam, and it's the login page for Steam.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Oh, that's Steam. That's where you go to, purchase games, and whenever you want to play, that's how that's where you'll get your games, basically." And she was like, "Okay, but I'm not going to be playing games yet." And I was like,
"Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what?"
I was like, "Okay, so you don't yeah." I was like, "You're not even signed in yet, so you can just close that out and it'll be fine." And then she was like, "Wait, I'm not signed in?" And I was like, "No."
Oh God.
And then she was like, "Wait, okay, so when I do sign in," I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "So I can sign in though?" I was like, "Yeah, you just got to sign in to get your games." And then she was like, "Okay, but I don't want to use it right now." And I was like, "All right, that's fine. You don't have to. You can just exit out of it. It'll start up." I was like, "It starts up automatically when your computer starts up." And then she was like, "So it'll look like this whenever I start my computer up?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, we can stop it from turning on at startup, but yeah, as of right, that's how it is default, yes." And then she was like,
"You better than me because I'm already pissed off."
I was pissed off. And then she was like, "Okay, so if I don't want to sign in, how do I sign in?"
What? That would be what I said to her. What?
I'm like, ma'am, I'm gonna say it simple. If you don't want to pay a bill, but when you're gonna pay the bill, do you see how you sound? Like, if you don't want to pay the bill, don't pay the bill. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't sign.
When I tell you, I looked at her, I was like, I know she did not just say what I think she just said. I was like, sign into Steam?
How do you answer that?
I was like, sign into Steam? And then she was like, yeah, if I don't want to sign in, how do I sign in? And then I was like,
wait.
No. No. I was like broken. I would have thrown the brand new. No, you know what? I wouldn't do that. I'd keep it for myself.
Is that what she said?
I'd take it and walk out the door.
No, that's word for word. She was like, when I said,
don't want to sign in, how do I?
She was like, yeah. She was like, if I don't want to sign in, how do I sign in? And I was like, what?
Like, if you don't want to make a phone call, how do you make a phone call?
Please, Marshall, please.
I was like, ma'am. I was like, ma'am.
This is a Wendy's.
I was like, ma'am, do you mean like signing into Steam? Because this is the only way you can sign into Steam. And then she was like, no, she was like, no, I'm not talking about that. If I don't want to sign in, how do I sign in? I was like, bro.
No. This is when I would have hit her. I would have been nice. I would not hit her physically. Well, that would.
I almost did hit her physically.
No. I would have been like, man, can I interest you in some of these HP laptops over here?
Like,
homegirl needs like an iPad.
It took a good 10 minutes for me to figure this out. She was talking about if she doesn't want to sign into Steam, how does she sign into Windows?
No, still no.
But even that,
you're already signed into Windows by that point.
That's exactly what I said. Right. I was like, you are already.
I'm not playing games yet. She said.
It was the crazy.
Girl, you ain't logged into nothing.
The craziest part is she literally signed into her computer. Games, all right. She signed into her computer, and then Steam obviously popped up. And then she was like, how do I sign in?
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
Marsh.
Yeah.
Did you see Kanye on Alex Jones's podcast?
Yes. Yeah, I saw the whole 3 hours, actually.
Of course you would watch the full thing.
I was really curious.
Oh, man.
What exactly he said, because I only saw highlights of it on Twitter, and I just thought, you know what, I'll just watch the whole damn thing.
So I'm going to ask, as someone who only watched about half of that podcast, because at a certain point I was just like...
I know, it was ridiculous. I don't blame you. It was ridiculous what he was saying.
What did it... I know it didn't get better for obvious reasons, but like, was it the same level or did it actually get worse?
I think it was just... It didn't really get worse. It just sort of derailed by that point.
Okay.
Because by the latter half, it was just Kanye spouting out and having excuse my language, by the way, but it was him like really acting really strange.
Kanye and like
because he brought props. He brought like that net, I think, and like a bag of chips or something.
I'm sorry, he brought what? He brought a net.
Yes, he brought a net.
It was a net. I think a bag of chips or like some sort of snack. I think.
Why?
Regardless, it was 2 props, and he was just like making them talk, quote unquote, like as if they were like puppets, you know?
Yeah,
he did a Muppet show about anti-Feminists.
We need to get him out of the view of the camera and into a real facility.
No, that's my biggest thing about this entire.
Even if you know what they do, you know what I mean? Because that's like, girls, this ain't funny no more.
Like at this point,
that's like Munchausen, regardless. Like,
at this point, I don't want to say this. I don't want to say he's manic because like that's blaming mental health on something that low-key that might not be mental health. But like at this point, that's like God, like he has clearly snapped.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what is going on. I hope he actually is okay. Like. No, like, I mean, like, I hope... I know he's not okay right now, obviously, but, like, I hope that
he ought to recover
gets some help, right?
Yeah, I think...
I hope they do the exact same thing they did to Brittany to him. Someone who actually deserves it.
Ooh. I don't really follow a lot of Kanye stuff, and I know that he's very problematic.
He is.
However, I will say... the man is very talented, and if people actually helped him redirect his whatever is going on or lack thereof to music or art and stuff like that, or maybe even just spending time with his family, I feel like that would be better than this.
Yeah,
the same way Hitler should have stayed in art school.
Hey, all I'm gonna say is if
I'm
Hitler
not
stay
saying
if Hitler
nothing.
stays in art school, World War II never happens. That's all I'm gonna say.
So true.
It could have just happened later.
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting, and they had to hire a new one.
So this was a topic that literally just came up because I was having a discussion with somebody, and he was saying that he understood the whole like God complex of famous people and specifically rappers, how they'll always like, you know, brag about their stuff and like get with a bunch of girls and not really care about anything because they have money and they make music that people listen to.
I'm just gonna pause.
I don't get the whole God complex. Like, I don't like even if you're like, oh, I went double platinum, triple platinum. Like, okay, so
Okay, and
be humble.
Night.
Yeah, okay. But I totally agree with you because like no one else can relate to you about these
Right.
things. So
It's
like
like-
we're not
like-
gonna like be like, "Oh my god, yeah, my private jet also didn't pick me up today." Girl, I got bills to pay and I can't pay them.
No, for real.
I think it's.
The point of this topic was actually because the male that I was speaking to about this was saying that he doesn't blame them for rapping about like all of this wealth in whatever way it comes in, because he said that if he were in that situation, he would do the same thing. So then I started like asking him, because he's in a relationship, about like, well, would you do the same stuff with like the girls? Like if you blew up overnight and you and your girl were still together, would you just break up with her? And he was like, yeah. And so
I
then
would
I
say
was
yes
like,
too.
And
Girl,
what does
you
that
can't.
mean in reference to your character and your morals and your ethics?
First of all, I think like you have to say it in the sense of like when people are like, I wouldn't steal the magic lamp from Aladdin because I'm Aladdin's friend. Well, yes, you just watched a 2-hour movie building. But you have to realize as well, because at the same time, if you had all the money and all the wealth to take care of yourself, would you really settle with the person that you're with now? And if the answer is yes, and that's amazing, you should probably marry that person. And the answer is, well, I don't know, because I would have such an opportunity to meet all these people and interact with all these people that are a lot more involved with things and this and that. Well, that's completely fine and normal because that's the whole process of life. That's like going off to college.
Well, yeah. See, I'm saying that because like
at the same time, if you asked, you got you.
So
like, that's not
all right, I'm not gonna lie. As a guy, and Marshall can correct me if I'm wrong, but as a guy, I feel like the reason he most likely said that is not for any altruistic reason of, oh yeah, you know, I might meet a bunch of different people, blah blah blah. It's more than likely because he wants to put his dingling in a bunch of different females.
Right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like,
of course.
As much as I want to say, you know, not every guy is like that. A good chunk of them are.
No, and I get
It's definitely
that.
an unhealthy amount that
I do understand. Marshall, back me up here. Tell them to shut up.
Oh yeah, yo, Marsh.
Does that work?
Yeah, I think I can understand why a man would do that. That makes sense because men are icky like that.
Women would do that too.
Well, yeah, and I know that too. But I'm more saying like, do we think that is like gonna be what's okay for you? Like, I'm not even saying it in terms of like, are you really gonna do your girl like that or your man's like that? I'm more saying like, does really equating your value as a human being to being this large sum of money just so that you could fuck other people, like, does that not say enough about your character? Like, you need that much money for women to, like, want to be somewhat interested in you?
So yeah,
Yeah, because a lot of these guys are ugly. No cap.
I was gonna.
I know that.
So what I was gonna say, like, I feel like, but more so because, like, I don't want. I wouldn't want to feel like I wouldn't want to have to question whether or not she was there just because of my money. Like, I would want to know that if I didn't have my money, / I wasn't famous, successful, whatever, would she still be here? Because, like, if you dump your, like, all right, if let's say you make a song, right? Let's say you took the walk to Poland, and it's a hit, and then out of nowhere you got record labels coming at you, blah 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 blah. You got money now. If you break up with your girlfriend or your significant other, and then you start going and smashing these basically, and being for the streets. How do you know that any of those girls would have been like talking to you at all without your money, without your fame, without your success? Like, how do you know that? You don't. So
and that's the whole
why
issue
would
that
you
child people have?
like? Why would you want to base your relationship off of you being successful, off of you having money? Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
See, that's
okay. Well, then what about those people that aren't in a relationship but they do get famous? Now what? Then they can never find love?
I'm not saying they can never find love.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not saying they can never find love, because there's ways. Like, you hang out with a person, you spend enough time with a person. Obviously, like, you're like, you can tell if someone's really for you or not.
There will be a spark.
Right.
Yeah, but also I'm like,
it's more so the fact that a lot of people tie their, like, sense of attraction, their value from the amount of people they've had sex with.
Of course. Shallow, yada yada yada.
I'm also asking from the perspective of people who would have the perspective that you do about, like, well, I see this as an opportunity to, like, meet new people or, like, see what else.
That wasn't my perspective at all. That was me playing, like,
what you were saying. But
I would do the exact same thing, let me tell you.
Okay.
Anyway.
Megan.
Because if you're telling me, I was just about to say that. I was like, you telling me I'm dating somebody, I could be like, wow, you're really nice. And Megan Thee Stallion pull up and she's like, hey, yo. I'll be like, I am here to worship the woman.
Crazy.
All right.
I'm here to. God put me on this earth for one thing and one thing only. That's it. Right. That's all I want to say. All right. And Megan Thee Stallion, if you're listening to me, my ring finger is empty. Oh, and what I was also gonna say, I'm like, you telling me that if you were with your little scrub, okay, and Michael B. Jordan wasn't like, hello, my heart is big and full.
You know, I couldn't even look that man in the eyes.
And he found it so attractive that you couldn't.
No. Stop playing.
She said stop playing. Stop playing.
You're such a silly little guy. You're such a silly little guy.
No.
Not me though. I'll be like, I am an expert at being
Wumbo.
Actually.
Oh wow. You heard it here first.
I'll say it again.
There's nothing wrong with being a little silly.
It's just guys being dudes, not the reaction and sound.
Oh my goodness!
Like, y'all heard it here, folks.
No, Dizzy, to build off on that though, I don't understand how people aren't humble. Period. realistically. Like, nah, don't get it twisted. Like, I understand how people aren't. So, like, I understand how people aren't humble, but at the same time, it's like, bro, be humble. Like, humble yourself. Like,
I think also, like, you can live that type of lifestyle because there's nothing wrong with being sexually open. I don't know how else to say this in a nice way, but being like, there's nothing wrong with being a thought. Be a thought, but you should also just be a genuinely decent person to begin with. Like, if you're gonna sleep with all these people, you should be like, hey, I'm not pursuing a relationship, so don't get it twisted.
Right.
Those type of things. I'm sure that's also what you mean, but at the same time, like, is that not the people you work with? Like, if that's in any demographic, I just think with celebrities, it's obviously amplified because they have the money to amplify it, and also it's broadcasted for absolutely everybody to see and be like, wow, that's so shallow. But when you look back at it, it's like, okay, that happened to my mother, that happened to this, that happened to that. Like, there's people like that all the time. They're all narcissists. Like, that's what you're talking about.
I feel like no. A good chunk of this world is narcissistic. Thank you for listening to this podcast, guys. I hope you enjoyed your holidays. I want to thank Marshall for being in this episode. It was really cool of him to, hop on. There in the next episode, there will be another clip with Marshall in it. So once again, I appreciate you guys for watching this podcast. Hope you enjoyed it and have a great day.